Hey everybody, it's me Stacey here at Scrapbooking Made Simple, and it's time for Saturday with Stacey, YouTube number 294. Oh my gosh, we are counting down to 300. It is amazing. Now, this YouTube class is being taped super early in the week. Usually I'm not doing this right now. But I leave tonight on a plane to go travel for business. And honestly, I think I am on the plane to and from almost as long as I am literally on the ground where I am traveling to. I am going there with a very specific reason. I have a thought that I want to see if it's doable, and I have to travel to go see if it can be done. But I am in and out. So this YouTube, if you're watching it during the premiere Saturday morning or anytime Saturday, I honestly think I'm already on my way back and I'm in a plane somewhere on the way home. I'm telling you, I'm in and out super, super fast. But because I am doing this YouTube so early in the week, I have no winners to announce from YouTube number 293, because many of you are still posting your comments. So it would be unfair to pull winners too early, not giving everybody the opportunity to place a comment and have a chance to hear a "you're a winner, chicken dinner, you're a winner, chicken dinner" song sung to them. What that means is that next week I will be announcing two sets of winners. There'll be a group from 293 YouTube, Saturday with Stacey YouTube class number 293, and two from today's YouTube number 294. Now next YouTube, the next week's YouTube, is all about National Scrapbooking Day. And my, oh my, do we have an event for you, both in store and online. And you know us. I always go out there and find the very best deals I can do for National Scrapbooking Day, and I think that you will be pleased to see the values and the deals coming this time. In fact, that buzz text that was going on was a manufacturer just confirming that they met my price. So Richard and Nikki, if you're watching this at Trimcraft, thank you. Just got your text. Wahoo kachoo. So anyway, the next YouTube after this will be showing you all of the amazing product for National Scrapbooking Day. And that is the first Saturday in May. It's in store, it's online. In store, if you're able to come join us. We have Prima coming in to do the free make and takes. Prima, oh my gosh. Jeanette herself is driving in, so I'm very excited about that. It's just going to be a great day here at the store, and hopefully we make it as exciting for you online as if you were here with us, because you kind of are here with us. I'll do my best to share on that day as much as I can, all the videos on Facebook and things like that. So Today is definitely a technique class, without question. You will want it. There are some very specific notes you're going to want to take. So if you need to grab a piece of paper and pencil, now's a good time. Pause. There's my pause face. I'm not blinking my eyes. All right. Have you got your paper and pencil? Good, glad to hear it. Now, it is the next collection of Simply Defined, and this collection is a little different for me than normal. As you know, Simply Defined I've been designing Kaleidoscope Dies in honor of my mom for some time now. And in fact, the kaleidoscopes behind me, quite a few of them, my mom purchased for me. There's a whole YouTube on what those kaleidoscopes mean, and that's what they are. There's kaleidoscopes, and now there's kaleidoscopes in front of me too. So if you want to understand the reasoning of the kaleidoscope dies and what the kaleidoscopes are, my best advice is, I do have a YouTube that explains the story of the kaleidoscopes. I do recommend you have a box of Kleenex. It is a difficult story. It was a difficult story for me to tell. It's a difficult story for you to potentially hear, but I had so many requests, and it is there. I will let you know I have never watched it back. I just there's just no reason for me to watch it back. And I don't want to cry now. So I was doing Kaleidoscope Dies in almost every, every other collection. And then the house burned down and everything kind of came to a grinding halt. And designing Kaleidoscope Dies are a little bit more intensive than just doing regular dies, because Kaleidoscope Dies are a set of dies that are meant to layer on top of each other that will give you an overall image. So you really have to think. You really have to think about where the fallouts need to be so that each layer is well represented to then come to an entire beautiful image. And I sat down to do kaleidoscopes several months ago, and I came up with 6 that I really thought I would want to do. And normally what happens is you start with maybe 6 designs, and then maybe you're not feeling some of them, so you let those go away for a while. You may come back to them later, but in the moment you just can't get them to work the way you want them to work. Well, all 6 came together beautifully, and I am not able to be Meryl Streep in Sophie's Choice. I cannot decide. Was it Meryl Streep? I think it was Meryl Streep. I cannot decide. How do I choose one over the other? So I went ahead and we're manufacturing all 6 of the Kaleidoscope dies. This month in April will be the first 3 Kaleidoscope dies called April Showers. And then in June will be the last 3 to the collection. And I think I named the collection Bring June Flowers. April Showers, Bring June Flowers. So that in April and June, that's all we're releasing is Kaleidoscope dies, and then each collection has one hot foil plate. So it's a little different for me this time, but I just couldn't decide how to do all 6 of them and how to pick some over the other. So I just chose not to. It worked for me. I'm hoping it works for you, but I just chose not to try and pick. Now, Kaleidoscope dies are made up of 4 dies that are all A2 size. And so they are your standard size for cards here in the United States. And again, they're all meant to work together. I've got that for you today, but there is a technique that I want to share with you. And again, this is where having that piece of paper and pencil is going to come very handy, because you need to use a specific sandwich in your machines to get this to work. I also have Stampendous for you, and we were not working together on this. I was doing my thing, they were doing their thing, and the next thing I know, they send me samples of the most beautiful embossing powders. They're new embossing powders for them, and they're floral embossing powders. And it was like, well, by George, my dies are florals. It was like 2 worlds collided and made crafty happiness. So without knowing what I was doing and without knowing what Stampendous was doing, somehow we were on the right wavelength. Me, Peggy, Fran, hello. And I have that for you today. And I have to tell you, the set that I have for you today, it is a 14, I think it's 14, 14 little jar set of embossing powders, which will give you all the new colors that they've come out with. And they're blends, so they're not just straight blues or straight pinks. They've got blends to them. But what I really like about Stampendous and what they do so well is that not only do they have the kit for us, that way giving you an opportunity to try all the colors at a great price. If you find a certain color in the kit that you just keep using again and again and again, they sell those in open stock full-size jars, so that you don't have to go out and buy a whole nother kit to get just that one jar, that one color that you tend to use all the time. And to me, that's so thoughtful to the consumer, because if you put something in a kit and the only way you can replace what you've used is to buy a whole nother kit, I'm not so big on that. But Stampendous, they made sure that they have the jars to refill. Now we're starting with the kit. That's where we're going to start. We're going to sell the kit first, and then we're going to bring in the open stock. Probably for June is when we will have the open stock, but we have the kit now, and there is a technique that I can't wait to share with you. Oh, what else? Okay, so National Scrapbooking Day, the first Saturday of May, in-store, online. This is the April release of Simply Defined called April Showers, and it's all about the Kaleidoscope dies and one super yummy hot foil plate. May will have normal collection for you, and then June we will be back to finish the balance of the Kaleidoscope dies to continue this whole collection. And please keep in mind, our Kaleidoscope dies retail for $29.99. That means you're getting 4 A2 size dies for $29.99. Now, we keep the prices as low as I possibly can. Just try to keep that in mind, because I know there's other wonderful companies out there. They're wonderful, but their prices are substantially higher than ours, where they have layering dies, but those dies can be $22 a die, $24 a die, $26 a die. So when you actually get all 3 of them to make, or all 4 of them to make the one complete look, well, you've spent anywhere from $60, $70, $80, $90. So we're value priced. And I do hope that you really love them. I do. So I'm going to get started. We're going to tilt on down for the today. I'm so sorry I don't have winner, chicken dinner to talk about. You're going to have to wait. And I don't have, oh, I suppose I should grab something. I don't have a make and take to show you yet either, because they're working on that right now. Usually I tilt on down and say, okay, and here's the make and take we're doing in the store, but I don't have it because I'm taping this so early in the week. So we're just going to roll with it, right? Roll. I can't sing because nope, I can't do that. It's like copyright violation for YouTube. So anyway, I'm going to tilt on down. It's good to see you. And hopefully I found what I was looking for with where I went. All right, down we go. Bye, everybody. All right, down. And then we're going to zoom, and maybe down, just a little bit more, and just a little more zoom. Okay, so I put this sample together when I was doing, not that I love these colors that I would use, but I was trying to quality control the dies and play with the embossing powders at the same time. So you can see that this is all embossed. And this is one of the Kaleidoscope dies. And I used the contrasting colors in my sample just so I wanted to see just how everything would look. But this is not the free make and take. Don't quite know what that is yet. Okay. All right. So let me talk to you a little bit about kaleidoscopes. And here's the first one. This is the set that made up here. And this is the flower set, the rose set. And you get 3 separate dies that are meant to layer together. And then you get 1 background die. And each of the background dies in all 3 sets are completely different. Now again, this is a full A2 size die. And it's a background die. And I know you still get it for the $29.99. And yet I know retailers will sell a full size background die A2 for $19.99, $22.99, $26.99, but you get all of that for the $29.99. And on the back, there's a super big picture of what it makes. There's the rose, and then all 4 dies. And I told you we had 3 this month. So here is the second. It is all about the tulip, the 3 dies that make up the tulip, and then 1 background die. And of course the background die you can do vertically, you can do it horizontally. All of them are able to go vertical or horizontal. And then on the back, there's the picture of what the dies make, and then the individual dies. And then last but not least, I have the third. So you've got the 3 dies that make up the flower, and then you've got a full-size honeycomb background, which again, landscape, portrait, whatever makes your heart happy. And when you turn it around, here it is. And then the 4 dies that make up the collection. Now for today, I'm going to be using the roses. Okay, and everybody has told me that I need to tell you about this. This is my gotcha tool. I usually don't bring it up too often. It's manufactured for me. It is mine. I own it. I paid for the mold. Spellbinders manufactured it for me. What is it? It picks up and stores your dies while they're on your table. Or if you happen to drop them, all you have to do is reach down and they'll just pick it right up. Or if you've lost a die and you can't find it, you can put this in your trash can and kind of whift it around. Now, I like the Spellbinders main attraction tool, but the main attraction tool, the front of it was very small. You had a very small space. And then it was this odd diamond shape, which made it difficult for us to ship. So I went to Spellbinders and I said, I have an idea. This is what I want mine to look like. I want to be able to ship it without any problems. And I want it to be much bigger. I want you to have a much more usable face of magnets so that you can store just a ton of dies that you're using on it. And there's still room. I could still add more. But this is my gotcha tool. It's exclusive to Scrapbooking Made Simple. It's a simply refined product. And but I didn't want anybody to think that we knocked anybody off. No, we went straight to Spellbinders and said, can you make this for us? Can you get this through Spellbinders? No, all they did was the manufacturing for me. This belongs to me and only me, and you'll only find it at Scrapbooking Made Simple. So that's my gotcha tool. There, Jerry, I mentioned it. Jerry's a good friend. She's like, you really need to show that more often. Okay, so Kaleidoscope is made up of 4 dies that can be used all on their own. You can use them on their own, honestly, or you can use them in combination of each other. The first die, die number 1, is always the one that has the fewest amount of cuts. Now, this only is going to have cuts here. It only has cut lines around here and around here. There's no cut lines anywhere around the rows at all, none. But because there's openings, you can use this one to do embossing with. Ah, yes, I'm gonna use my squishy and my knock knock and I'm gonna show you how to emboss this one. Then you have die number 2. Now die number 2 has more cut lines. There's more little ridges around more of the design. So more pieces are going to fall off. And die number 2 is going to lay directly on top of die number 1 when you decide to layer them. Then you have die number 3, which has the most detail. All of this is cut line. Everything is cut line. And this is going to add the little finishing touch to your collection here so that all 3 are going to work in conjunction together. Do you have to use all 3 together? No, and I'm going to show you how. And then I included a background die, which again, background die can be used vertically, horizontally, just depends upon how you want it to be used. But that goes to the back so that you have a complete set. And what's nice is being that all 3 background dies are different, you could take any of the other background dies and match it with this and to make it a totally different look. Now I am going to cut these for you so that you can see them. I'm not going to add Stacey tape to the back of my paper. I could take and put Stacey tape, put my glasses on. I could have put Stacey tape on the back of my paper and then die cut this out so that it makes it an instant sticker. I'm not going to do that today because I want to show you how they layer and not have them stick together. So I'm going to start with die number 1. And I am going to come over and I'm going to grab my paper and I'm going to bring over my Sizzix Big Shot machine. And I have got my multi-purpose platform completely closed because I'm using a wafer style die. All tabs closed. Doesn't matter if you're using a standard one or an extended, all tabs closed. I'm using my precision base plate with the metal facing me, whether that be black or a kind of a bronzy color or the chrome. You do not want to use your precision base plate. If you can read the directions, stop. It's wrong. You need to have that metal side facing you, and that's going to go right on top of your multi-purpose platform. It's going to take the place of your bottom cut plate. Then I'm going to add my paper. Then my die. Now this die really doesn't need a precision base plate, but it's got enough metal to hold it together that it's not gonna warp. And since I'm gonna need this for my other dies, so again, the only place that it's gonna have fallouts are right there. I'm gonna take it and send it on through. Now, I've got my die going straight here. It's parallel here and parallel here. The roller is here. So being that these two are gonna hit at the exact same time, there might be a loud thump. If that happens, it's okay. It's not gonna hurt your die. But if you don't want that to happen, you need to tweak your die just a little bit. So that it feeds into the roller, not as a parallel. It's gonna start here and then gradually feed the rest of the die in. And that's gonna save a little bit of that ka-thump. Now, if you hear the ka-thump or the creaks or the cracks, don't worry, that just means that it's cutting it. It's okay. So let's send it on through. Oh man, that was a smooth, oh, there's a couple creaks. Oh my gosh, that was easy. Now, I don't have to do a rotate because this is only cutting out 2 little pieces. That's all it's cutting out. There's cut number 1. Now, remember I said that I could add an embossing to this. I could use my squishy and my knock-knock to emboss all of these. And I will do that for you, but we're gonna cut everything first. So there's cut number 1. Now I need my number 2 plate. That's number 3, that's number 2. I can put number 1 back there for right now. So number 2 plate, and let's grab another piece of paper. Bring my machine on over. Remember, I am working with my multi-purpose platform, precision base plate, direction, side down. You don't want to be able to read your directions. I've got my die number 2, which has a few more cuts to it than die number 1. I'm going to put it on a slight angle so it doesn't go ka-thump. And I'm going to send it on through. And let's roll. A few more creaks and cracks because it's doing a little bit more cutting. And then I do want to do a rotate, so I can just rotate 180 degrees, and send it on back because this is doing a little bit more cutting. All right, let's take it and see what we've got. All my little pieces are gonna fall out. Mr. SMS's floor is going to look wonderful. It's going to be pretty in pink. Pull my die right on out. And now I have cut my second piece. Okay, I'm gonna put it over there, put those down. Let's get my last die. Die number 3 has the most cuts, and it's got the finest lines in there. And I'm gonna do this one out of black, just so you can see. So again, machine over, die down, put it at just a slight little angle, send it on through, roll, 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 roll. And I am going to rotate. This time I can just get rid of, will it let me get rid of my black? No. Okay, we'll just do a whole 180 degree and send it back. And roll, 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 roll. So those little creaks and cracks are okay. It means that the die is cutting through the paper. It's what you want to hear. And pretty much everything is just going to fall right on out because you were using that precision base plate. All the little detail is going to fall right on out. And last but not least, I'm going to cut a background. Now, this has got a lot of pieces to it. It has got a ton of fallouts. It, without question, is going to need to have the precision base plate. If you try to cut this die without using a precision base plate, oh, well, I don't know if I would. I mean, really, do you see how many pieces fall out? I know, I got a little crazy with it, but it's so pretty. A little bit of an angle. There we go. Plate on. 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. I am definitely going to rotate and just go zoop, zoop. Sound effects required, and send it on back. And even then, I'm going to pick it up and look at it just to make sure. See? Not all the way right there or right there. That means I need to rotate my angle just a little bit. Let's bring it back. And let's try that and see how that will work. And send it through again. Lots of cuts on this one. And send it through again. And the reason for the rotation is that if you go front and back and front and back and front and back without ever moving the die, the roller is going to hit it in the exact same way. Now that's not going to change the way it cuts. If the roller didn't hit it the first time going forward, chances are leaving it where it was and sending it back, it still might not hit where it needs to hit to cut. Oh, see? Okay, see? That rotation is so important. It makes all the difference. If I just sent this through this way, front and back and front and back and front and back, thinking that it's going to pick up where it didn't cut before, well, it's hitting this roller exactly the same way. Why would it change anything? You have to move the die so that the sweet spot in your machine, and everybody's got a sweet spot in their machine, hits all the places that need to be hit. And that will help you be more successful in your die cutting and cause a little less frustration. Now, this is going to have lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of fallouts. Again, Mr. SMS, I'm so sorry. Not really. Okay. That's what a precision base plate does for you, right? Do you see all of that fallout? And the fallouts are the little pieces. Now somebody's going to have some very lovely confetti high school or graduations are coming up, you could certainly save these and use them for confetti. But can you see? Easy peasy mac and cheesy. I mean, really beautiful. And there's no reason why you just can't use this one all by itself. And any place you see that there's still one left, just go through and pop it out. They fall out, but you have to admit, they came out pretty nice, right? How beautiful is that? Okay, so now we have our dies. We have our background. We have our number 2 die, which can layer right on top, giving you a look right there. You're good to go. Done. If that's all you want to do, that's all you have to do. But then I cut the detail piece to put it on top, to outline everything. So now you've got that detail piece outlining it all. Instead of this, you have that. But what if I just wanted to do these two together? Well, you can. Why not? You could just put those two together. Or you could just put those two together. Or, as I started, you could put those two. Or you could just use the detail. Absolutely. You have oodles and oodles of options. Tons of them. And I didn't even start to put the background die with them yet. So 1, 2, 3, and then the background. I didn't even start to put the background with it yet. That's complete. But you don't have to do that. You could take away your top layer. And have that. Or you could take away your second layer. Are you getting the idea of just how versatile these dies are and how many different looks you could achieve? Crazy, right? So, being that each set comes with 4 dies, you have multiple opportunities to play with them. Any way, gosh, you could even, if you wanted to, you could even do that. It's whatever makes your heart happy. And remember, with each die, you get a different background. And if you get more than one set, then you've got 2 different backgrounds to play with. If you get all 3 sets, well, then you could mix and match any of the backgrounds. Okay, but I did mention that you could take that bottom one because that's the one that has the least amount of cuts, but it's also the one that can give you the best detail for doing an embossing. And I'm gonna use my pink paper because I did one earlier in red, so I'll show you both of them once I'm done because I did one earlier in red. This is my magic paper. It's black on the front, pinkish on the back. And that means when I sand it, that pink is going to come through. So the paper started as pink, and then a layer of ink, of black ink, was layered over the top of it, allowing you to sand it. So if I was to tear it, instead of it being white or black, you can see that pink coming through. Now I'm going to take and I'm going to die cut. So this used to be from Coordinations paper, but Coordinations stopped carrying it, stopped selling it. And I wanted this paper desperately. So hence the reason I made a trip a couple years ago. Kind of the same reason why I'm making a trip now, because there was something that I so wanted but couldn't get my hands on. Nobody else manufactures it. And so I had to have it manufactured for me. I have it in magic and I have it in chocolate. The chocolate is all different shades of brown on the front and then a color on the back. So I'm going to take my die and I'm just going to cut it. Now I don't need the precision base plate with this bottom die. So for now I'm going to take it off. And I'm going to start with a cut plate. Well, maybe I'll start with my do not cut plate. Okay, so I'm going to layer this sandwich a little differently than we normally do. I'm going to put my do not cut plate down first. I'm going to put my die facing me. Die ridges facing up. Normally we've been cutting down. This time I want to cut up. I need that black paper to be against the die. And then I need my cut plate, which is beautiful, a brand new cut plate. Oh, my heart is happy. All right. And I'm going to send it on through. And truly oh, see? It's parallel. Can you hear that sound? Oh my gosh, I know it sounds awful, but it's okay, I promise. Oh, it's just the worst sound ever. But looky, everything came out just fine. See? Now, why did I cut face up as opposed to face down this time? Because I need to open up my multi-purpose platform to tab number 1. Doesn't matter if you have the extended or this size, you're still going to have to open it up to tab number 1. This is the tab that allows you to do embossing. So I'm on tab number 1. I'm going to put this right back on top. Right back on top. So all I did was take my cut plate off, open to tab number 1, put my die and my do not cut plate back down, and now I'm going to grab my squishy and my knock knock. Squishy for obvious reasons, it squishes, and knock knock for obvious reasons, it knock knocks. This is called a silicone impression pad, or a silicone pad from Sizzix. It is meant to go with your Big Shop machine. Silicone pad. We call it a squishy. I'm gonna lay it right on top. And this is a textured impression pad, a knock knock. I renamed these years ago because they were only sold in black. This was black and this was black and a crease pad was in black. So for the camera, for you, for explaining, I couldn't tell you which was the difference because they all look the same. So I named this one Squishy and this one Knock Knock so that when I was using them, because they were all black, you would understand. Now this is just their names. Sorry, Ellison, love you, but I'm not changing. It's a Squishy and a Knock Knock. And if you look at it under our site and you type in the word Squishy or Knock Knock, these will come up, but we do also have their real names. Now, the way this works is that this Squishy is going to force the paper into all of those openings in the die. All of that rose detail, this squishy is because it's squishy. Oh, and look it, see, mine got cut through. Don't worry if yours gets cut through. We've cut through ours. It still works. Don't worry about it. It's going to push this paper into that die, forcing and embossing. So you have to have a squishy and a knock knock. They are two peas in a pod, and we sell them together because they are two peas in a pod. You always use them together. Now, the important thing to know is that that squishy is going to come out the back end. As it's being compressed into your machine, it's going to squish down and squeeze out, and you will see that it will start growing out the back end of your machine. I can see that it's right here. It started way back there. It's right here. Can you still see the orange tab? Now, can you see the orange tab? No, as it's compressing down, it's squishing out the machine, which is exactly what you want to see. If the squishy does not come out the back end, you're not doing it right. Repeat, if the squishy does not come out the back end, you're not doing it right. Okay, so if I hold this up backwards, you can already see the embossing is there. Can you see that? If I take my die out, you can see that the embossing is there. Can you see that? Oh, does that come through? Okay. But you're like, yeah, but it doesn't look like anything, Stacey. I know. Give me a moment. Let me get my stuff together, put myself back together again. Put this down there, and this over there, and scooch this out of the way. Ooh. Now I'm gonna grab my Sand It gadget. Sand It gadget. Coordinations doesn't make them anymore. Doris does, and it doesn't have the coordinations on it anymore, but it is made to go with this weight paper. And I'm gonna give it a sand. And anywhere that squishy and knock forced that embossing. Ooh, Stacey, careful, careful. Anywhere that squishy and knock forced the paper into the die to do that embossing, you will see that as I sand, that detail is coming up. Right? Amazing. Out of the die that you thought gave you nothing. Oh, but it does a whole nother look. Is that awesome? You have to use a paper that's sandable. So I sell the Magic in the Chocolate. White core cardstock would work as well. So any double-sided paper that has any double-sided printed paper, if it's got a design on both sides, it will sand to white. Okay, so I said I did one in red too. Right? This is what you can do with a squishy and a knock and this die that you thought was just a, well, all it gives me is those two fallouts, right? But hello, look at what else it gives you. And we haven't even started with the Stampendous embossing powders yet, and that's where we're gonna go to next. So we so far have played with embossing. We've played with the dies, layering them in about 1 million different combinations. You decide what makes your heart happy. You can mix and match dies 1, 2, and 3 until you just make any kind of combination that you want. You've got the dies to play with. You might like that better. 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 I mean, you really do have lots of opportunity to play. It's all up to you. But now we're gonna take it to another level. We're gonna step it up just a little bit. And that's using the new Stampendous. They're calling it Floral Garden Embossing Powders. So there's 14 different colors here, and each one of them is a blend. It's not a straight color. And if I can get it to maybe zoom in a little bit, you can see perhaps that maybe some of them have some white mixed into it, or different shades of green. These are new colors for Stampendous. These are not colors that they've had before and just repackaged. These are all new and meant to go for florals. Who knew Fran was working on florals the same time I was? Now, for this, what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be playing with just one of these dies. I'm gonna start with just die number 2. That's all I'm gonna play with for right now. I'll add die number 3 later, but just die number 2. And I am going to need Stacey tape. Now this is a 6-inch roll. These are an A2 die. So I need to be sure I have enough to do the entire die. 5-inch roll, very tight. Because this is, what, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2? So kind of the 4 1/4, it's a little tight. So this is a 6-inch roll. Now, I'm going to use embossing powder straight onto my tape. Stacey tape, or simply defined adhesive tape, comes as thin, and this is a 1/4 inch, but comes as thin as 1/8 of an inch all the way up to 6 inches. And I want to say the 1/8 of an inch, it's 85 feet of tape, it's double stick, it holds everything from glitter to embossing powder to beads to fabric to acetate to metal to papers to chipboard, you name it. And I want to say, gosh, I don't know if I think the 1/4 inch is, maybe it's $3.99 a roll. It is one of the most effective ways to use adhesive. We use it for absolutely everything. And again, you have 3/8 of an inch, 1/2 an inch, 1 inch, 2 1/2 inches, 5 inches, 6 inches, 1/4 inch, 1/8 of an inch, lots of different sizes. But for this, I'm going to be using a larger size. Now, it's very easy to work with. Here's my paper. Here's my tape. I could, if I want to, just rip off a piece because it is able to be torn. Put it down. I want to cut off any that are on the sides because I don't want it to be sticky onto my my cut plate. That's good. I'm going to cut just a little bit off the side. I like to leave myself a little bit of a handhold. A little bit of a handhold. So that's good. I'm good right there. Now, to do what I'm going to be doing, you have to have a crease pad. This is a thud plate. Thud, and that the reason why we named it is because it doesn't knock and it doesn't squish. It kind of thuds. And when they were all black, that was the only way for me to tell them apart. Okay, this is a thud. So it bends. It's not as squishy as the squishy pad, the silicone pad, but it's also not as rigid as the knock knock. Now, many of you may have one of these from time gone by because we used to use these with dies that you needed that had a score line, and we didn't want it to cut through the score line. So this will allow you to die cut and do what's called a kiss cut. It's not going to cut all the way through. It's going to do a kiss cut. What's a kiss cut, Stacey? Well, let me show you. Let me bring my machine back on over. Instead of using the precision base plate, I'm going to use my crease pad as my bottom plate no clear plate, my crease pad as my bottom plate. Then I'm going to put my Stacey tape on my paper. This tape needs to be face up. We're not making a sticker. If I wanted to cut this and make this into an instant sticker that all I had to do was peel off the back and stick it down, then the Stacey tape would be facing down. But for this technique, I need you to see that glossy liner face up, because when we peel off that glossy liner, what's underneath it? Tape, sticky tape. I need that glossy liner facing you, and I need you to put your die face down. Now, I'm going to put on my do not cut plate, and I'm going to send it through. And I'm not looking for it to cut the whole thing out. That's not what I want. Hence the reason we're using the crease pad. And you'll hear little cuts and cracks, and that's okay. And I'm just going to go forward, and I'm going to go backwards. I'm not asking it to cut. I'm asking it to kiss cut. So it did not go all the way through my paper. That's exactly what I wanted. I didn't want it to go all the way through my paper. And it has left the impression in. Now, I can take my embossing powders and my tweezers, and I can go in there and I can individually pull up different parts of my flower to add embossing powder to it. With my little funnel, high tech, I know. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to start with these two really big sections right there. And I'm just going to get my little tweezers and I'm going to pull that up. Ooh, I got my thumbprint right on that. I'll pull my tweezers and pull those two pieces up. I don't know if I'm going to get rid of that thumbprint. I really got it on there good. And I'm going to grab, I don't know what I want. Too many decisions. I'll grab yellow. We'll see how yellow does. So my yellow embossing powder. Stacey tape is heat resistant. Then I'm going to take an inexpensive makeup brush and brush it right off. And yeah, I don't know. I'm going to get rid of that, my fingerprint. And where I have exposed the sticky, that embossing powder is staying. Now I've got all of this to put right back into my little jar. So you use very little, depending on how big of a space you're doing. Now let's pull my next one. And this time, I think I will pull all the insides. So I'm going to pull all of my inside little pieces, and I'm going to start with some of these small ones up here. And I'm just going to pick them right on out. Because it's done what's called a kiss cut. It's cut the liner of the tape, but it didn't cut all the way through, so nothing is falling out, allowing me to individually pull off each little piece, so that I can decide when and where and what color embossing powder I want to add to my design. So let's just pull off all of my little pieces and some of my big pieces. This is a big one that can come off, and this is a big one that can come off. So I started with the little ones first, and then I'm coming back to grab the big ones. That way I have a handhold. And you can see why I wanted to leave a handhold. And all of these are just coming right off. And just a few more little pieces. Big one there. A big one there. And my last one is here. Now, what color do I want to fill all that space in with? I'm gonna go with pink. And again, everywhere that I have exposed the sticky, my embossing powder is going to cling to. It's going to stick to it. And you can say, oh my gosh, Stacey, you're dumping it all. I know, it's okay. It's all just going to make its way all the way around. It's going to fill in all of that space. And then when I'm done, I can wipe it right off. Okay, can you start seeing it? Now, notice we haven't heat set anything. I didn't heat set in between the two colors. I'm going to do all of my heat setting at one time. I don't necessarily have the patience to pull a color, do a color, heat set a color, pull a color, do a color. If I can do it without it, I'm going to do it without. Okay, so then I just have one more to pull off. And that's the big one that goes all the way around. You can see my colors did not cross-contaminate. Now I'm going to grab this and I'm going to pull this whole piece off. Oh, I got a little bit underneath. I didn't have it down quite hard enough. I got a little bit underneath. Let's see if I can grab some of that off. Okay, and this time I'm going to use red. And I'm going to fill all of that space in again. Anywhere there's white, I need to fill it in with my embossing powder. Anywhere there's sticky. And I'm just going to let it walk on down. And fill on in. Brush it all off. Hope I didn't get it all the way down there, but brush it all off. Okay, you can see I didn't get it all the way around the rest of my frame. No problem. Just go in there. And finish adding it to my frame so that all the places that are sticky have been covered. Now I can heat set all at the same time. Heat set, yes, this is embossing powder. So embossing powder is just that. It's a powder that once you add heat to it will turn itself into a solid. Put all my embossing powder away. Put it all back into my little vial. So you use very, very little. And now Now I can bring over my heated tool. This is my Ranger heated tool, and I like it because it's very quiet, it disperses the heat nicely, and it doesn't burn anything. The not burning anything is super important. Yes, it takes longer than a cylinder tool, absolutely. And if you're comfortable with embossing, then you go right ahead and use your cylinder tool. But if you're new to embossing, you may want to stick with this because it will take you longer, but it will not burn anything. And to me, that's important. After doing all this work, I don't want it to burn. Now, I'm not doing this. I'm keeping it in one spot, directing my heat, and as I see it turn from a powder into a solid, that is when I start to move my heat tool. If you're doing this, what you're doing is adding heat, then taking it away, and it instantly starts to cool. Then you're adding heat again, and then you're taking it away, and it instantly starts to cool. And no, this is not a blow dryer. And no, you can't use a blow dryer. A blow dryer will not get hot enough to turn your embossing powder from a solid into a, or from a powder into a solid. No, you cannot use this on your hair. This is far too hot. Okay, so I can see it starting to turn, and as it turns, I move. And I'm asking it to do a lot. It has to get through the embossing powder, it has to heat up the embossing powder, it has to heat up the tape, it has to heat up the paper. So I am asking it to heat quite a bit, so it will take a little longer. You will need to have a little bit of patience to get the whole thing done, unless you're using a cylinder tool. And if you're using a cylinder tool, there's nothing wrong with that. Just be more careful not to burn. Now I'm going to stop this for a moment just so you can see. Where it is embossed and where it isn't, because it's very clear. It'll show you where it's embossed and where it hasn't. And you can see me moving my tool around because I have to figure out which direction is best to get the place where I need it to heat. Okay, so you can see that that's all embossed, but you can see where it's dull, it has not. That's still a powder. It has not turned into a solid yet. And once you're done, in fact, even right there, it still needs to be, I need to add more heat to turn it. And it doesn't take long for it to dry, okay? Once it's cool, it turns into the plastic that it is. But I need to continue to add my heat. And you can see why you want the handholds. And I can actually watch it change from a powder into a solid. And as I see that, then I can slowly move my heat tool along. So I can see it needs some over here. And I'm just going to kind of move my heat tool until I figure out the right angle. And I can see it turning. So I haven't used Versamark at all. I'm only using Stacey tape because I don't have a stamp. Still haven't gotten quite that area. And you can see I'm able to hold it without burning. If this was a cylinder tool and you were not comfortable with a cylinder tool, you would have burned your hand and your paper by now. Okay, so now you can see even more is turned. And I just continue on until my entire image is completely changed. You would never be able to hold it. Look at how close I am. You would never be able to hold it like this with a cylinder tool. It would burn, 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 burn. And as I'm seeing it change, I'm moving my heat tool. Okay, so, not that it's done yet, because it's not. But then I can take it, and that's how I did this one. But you're like, Stacey, that one has a leaf to it. I know. I know it does. And then I could take my black piece, put it right over the top to add that finish. Oh, and then just trim it right on out. It's not dry yet. I need to finish it. Then I'll trim it out. But how beautiful is that? And you could absolutely add Stacey tape to the back of your black paper here. And that way it would stick straight down to it. Okay, but this one has a leaf. How did I do that? All right, so I've got my Stacey tape. I've got my number 2 die, Stacey tape face up. I've got my multi-purpose platform completely closed, my crease pad here. If you're using a knock-knock or a squishy or anything else, it's not gonna work. Crease pad. My paper with my Stacey tape facing up, my die, and then my do not cut plate and send it on through. So 1, bring it back, because all I want to do is a kiss cut, and that kiss cut means I'm just cutting through the liner of the tape, but I'm not cutting all the way through my paper. There we go. Kiss cut. I've got my rose there, but I have not cut through my paper, so nothing's falling out. Now, to get that leaf, what did I do? I took my tweezers at the time, actually, and I cut a little space right here. So I just cut through the liner. So there's a line right there, and I just made a little snip. And then I need to put a line right here. So I'm just gonna go through, and scissors will work. Scissors are probably a little bit better than my tweezers. Let's see if I can grab my scissors and do it with my scissors. So I just want to add a little bit of a cut. Ooh, all the way up, see, I have trouble. All the way across. So now I've put a little cut here, and I need a little cut like right here. And a cut across the bottom. I don't want to push down so hard that I'm going to cut through my paper. I just want to add that kiss cut. So I've cut in 4 or 5 different places. Let's take this one off. Let me pull this piece off. And okay, so I pulled that up by mistake. I need to press this back down in place so I don't get any of that embossing powder underneath it. Press it back down in place. So right now, all I've taken off were the 2 that I started with last time. And let's add a little bit of embossing powder there. missed a space. Brush it off with an inexpensive makeup brush. Okay, so now I'm going to build that leaf because I don't want it to be an extra petal for the flower. I wanted a little green. And I was allowed to do that because I just added some lines. I just cut through in some places. So if I start with my biggest piece, remember I cut along the bottom here because it was attached here and it was attached here. So if I pull off that biggest piece first, and I separated it up top right there, and I separated it right there, and I separated it right there. Ha! Ta-da! Now I can add my green. And put that right in. And then dust it right on off. And you can see it's not cross-contaminating into my other color. Then I can put it away. Right back into my little jar. And then I can pull off lid, lid, lid. I'm the worst at spilling. Lid. Then I can pull off my other two little pieces in the middle of my leaf because it's a kiss cut. So I'm going to expose that sticky. And go in with my darker green. Oh, darker green. To give some shading and some shadow. And then off it goes. And you can see how I started to build a leaf. Let's put this away. And then I would continue as before and just start pulling off the rest. So now what I have left is the two colors of the rose that I want. And let's do the big piece first just so we can get the outline so you can see. So now I'm going to pull off the big piece that was left. Down. And let's fill it in with the yellow. And anywhere that that sticky is exposed, this yellow is going to cling to. Kind of walk it on down and walk it on around. Walk it on down and fill all that space in, because ultimately I'm going to just put it right back into my pot. You see I'm getting it all over, moving it all around. And then I could go back and pull each individual white space to give me a leaf. Put this away. Now, what if you don't know what color you want, or you got this far and you don't have time to finish? Can you heat set with the Stacey tape still on top? So I haven't exposed any of the white. That's still Stacey tape, waiting for me to pick a color. Can I sit there and heat set? So that way if I have to come back to it at a later time, I can. Because maybe I just ran right out of time. Certainly I can. I can sit here and heat this up and get all that I've got done already set and ready to go. That way it doesn't get smudged or damaged or destroyed. Sure I can. So I can heat this all up. I don't have to worry about the Stacey tape liner. It's going to be just fine. You can see I'm applying heat straight onto that liner. And see how close I'm getting to my embossing powder without burning it. Okay, that still hasn't turned yet, but okay, so I got that bottom done. You can see how glossy it is comparative to everything else. Then I'm able to come back at a later time, or you went to brunch with your family and now you want to finish it, and then I can come back and peel up my liner. Oh, I know, right? It's just a little bit of happiness. I don't know what color I want, but I can. I don't know if I want that one. I don't know what I want. I can come back in and I can. I wonder how crazy the orange would be. I can then add my embossing powder without doing any damage to anything else. And come back and start heating that up and building, finishing, pull all the other little white pieces off and build the rest of my flower. So if you get stopped, it's no big deal. You can heat set at any time. I happen to like to heat set, if I have the chance, I like to do it all at once, just because for me, it's just easier. But maybe life happens and the doorbell ring and it's your grandbaby or your children, or you know, your BFF came over and thought you might like to go to lunch, or maybe your husband came home or your wife came home from work early. Wouldn't that be lovely? And then you wanted to spend that time with them. Not a problem. Then you just come back and heat set what you have left later. And you can see I'm just being very slow and methodical in my use of my heat tool, because again, it's going to take a little longer. You're asking it to go through embossing powder, you're asking it to go through adhesive tape, and you're asking it to heat the paper. So it's got to heat all three elements before the embossing powder will turn into a solid. Do I have it? I think I have it. And then a few seconds later, you got to give it a few seconds to dry. Once it kind of cools down, then it's good. See? No problem. And then right over the top. And you can start to see what it would look like. All right, you guys, we did a lot today. Oh my gosh. We looked at the kaleidoscopes and how to build them, and the different ways that you can build them, and the different elements that you can use together or apart, and how you can take all of them and do everything with all of them, or you can just utilize the ones, there we go, the ones that make your heart happy. I could get rid of this one and just do this. I could get rid of that. I could just do that. I could add all three of them and just do that. I could get rid of the back layer if I wanted to and just do that. I could get rid of the black layer. I mean, you name it. It's really up to you how many different ways you can figure out how to use these 4 dies together. How to implement and get the most out of them, because I really did try to give you lots and lots and lots of options. And then of course you can take them and just use the bottom layer to do an embossing with your squishy and your knock knock. Now here's one that is completely put together. Ooh, ah, completely put together, all 4 layers. So you can do, I don't know if I have a piece of, you can absolutely just do this if you'd prefer. It's up to you. You can do that with that. You can do that with that. You could even take this and cut this layer, the top layer, in a pink and put that over the top to bring out that emboss. You could take the back. Oh, you could take the back of the black and cut this layer out of that and lay that on the top. Oh, right? Lots of different ways to make the most out of that $29.99. And if you have more than one set, then you have multiple background dies. And then we played with the embossing powder, which means you need to have, if you have Stacey tape, you need to have a crease pad. This is a Sizzix crease pad. It's really important. And for that, you're then going to be able to use all the beautiful colors that come in this new Stampendous embossing kit. They even give you the cute little spoons to get it out and put it back. And it's their floral embossing kit. And it gives you the opportunity to just play. Just play when you're doing a kiss cut. And you've got all of that beautiful embossing all done. This one still has to be finished. We'll finish it for the downstairs make and take. All right, so, oh my gosh. Okay, so what I have for you is the embossing kit is on a YouTube Yummy sale. The crease pad will be on a YouTube Yummy sale. I didn't even get to show you the foil plate, which are distressed leaves for your foil plate, for your Go Press and Foil or your Glimmer or your Gemini machine. This is the other item in the collection. And then you have the 3 dies sets. So the tulips, the rose, and the sunflower. All right. Okay. So let me show you the storyboards, and then I will show you the samples. So tulip storyboard. Those are the dies that you get. And here are some of the different combinations. Here is the rose storyboard, which we were working with. And here are some of the different combinations. Now, a big thumbs up. SMS girl Claire did the storyboards. Usually it's Elena, but Elena is traveling right now. Here is the sunflower. And for some reason, I don't have the sunflower completely together, but that's okay. Here are the 4 dies of the sunflower. You can see how we embossed it. Haha, see? And here are the 3 different background dies if you were to buy all 3 of the kaleidoscopes. And of course you can change them and change their orientation. This is if you buy all 3. This gives you all of them. And then here is the tulip completely done. And the rose completely done. And the sunflower completely done. And last but not least, you have my distressed leaves for your Go Press 'em foil. I love my distressed leaves. Yes, I do. All right, on to samples. So let's start with Michelle. Michelle just used the background die and the embossing powder. That's different colors of embossing powder. And here is her rose. Right? Beautiful. And her tulip. And her distressed leaves. And her sunflower. Okay, then we go to Belinda. And Belinda and her cat. Here's her sunflower with Kitty. Here's her sunflower without Kitty. Isn't that pretty? Love the colors. Here's her tulip. Here's her rose with Kitty. Ooh, this is a really nice tulip too, Belinda. Wow. And then her last tulip. And here she put it on the, she used different backgrounds. So here, look at, you can see, she used the tulip with the different backgrounds. So the tulip doesn't come with this background and it doesn't come with that background, yet she used them from the others and they look beautiful. So that's Belinda. Then we have Claire. Slide this to me a little bit. We have Claire and Claire's tulip. We have Claire's rose. And sunflower. All Kaleidoscope dies. And here she didn't even use all 3 layers. Look at how beautiful is that. Here she did use all 3 layers. And last but not least, she did a little clipboard with the tulips on it. Beautiful, right? In her altered art piece. You got a little stenciling going on and distress, and she used the embossing powder from, the new embossing powder from Stampendous. And then last we have Doris. And we have the tulip from Doris. And we have a rose from, a rose from Doris. And then you open it and you flip and you stand. So from Doris, beautiful, right? And you have a distressed leaves, hot foil plate. And you have another tulip. So pretty. This is all Doris. She said she set a record of how many samples she got done. And look at her rose. And then we have her, oh, here's another sunflower. All done with the embossing powder. So pretty. So remember, these are simply defined dies, and the only place to get them is Scrapbooking Made Simple. These are my designs, it's my brand, and they're value priced. Are you ready? Hello. Oh, I didn't get it all the way up. Get it up and under and standing. How cute is that? This is Doris. All right, you guys. They're just all so beautiful. I can't think of one that I don't think is just amazing that the girls did. All of them were just so spectacular. I'm going to tilt up and then I'm going to tilt back. Back. All right, so it is me, Stacey, Scrapbooking Made Simple, scrapbookingmadesimple.com. These are simply defined. They are the April release, the April collection. It is all about kaleidoscopes and using that Stampendous embossing powder and learning how to kiss, cut, emboss. Amazing. So I hope you learned something. Don't forget, you need that crease pad if you're using Stacey tape and you want to do a kiss cut embossing. Now the next collection that finished this is the kaleidoscopes will be in June. And so April and June, and then in May I've sandwiched something completely different. So I will see you next week for National Scrapbooking Day and a YouTube on everything that we have on sale for you. And I will see you when I see you. I still think I'm flying home right now by the time you're watching this. So I miss you all. I hope you had a wonderful live chat and I will be back soon. Bye everybody. Stacey, scrapbookingmadesimple.com. Toodles.